Okay, so again, good evening. Welcome. Appreciate everyone taking the time out of their evening to be here. Just want to say a few thank yous to some folks and then kind of go over the agenda for this evening and who's here and what you expect to hear. So just really want to thank you all again for taking the time out of your schedule to be here. But I also want to thank our staff who took the time out of their evening to be here. And we have a large amount of staff. So if you guys just want to raise your hand and appreciate you. Our counseling team and our administration as well, our parent coordinator and community coordinators. We are expecting Council Member Dinowitz to join us. He wanted to share a few words with you about know your rights, given the political environment that we are in, and that he has some important information to share so that you understand your rights, you understand that we are one community and that you should feel safe and that you belong here. And I also want to just take a moment to thank Eric Goranstein, who we're going to hear from in a little bit, from a company called My Robin, who's going to share some information around building partnership and community and how us, because I'm a parent as well, can best support our students. So one of the most important reasons we called this meeting is to build community. I don't know how many of you remember what IN-Tech used to look like before the pandemic, if you've been here that long. But before the pandemic, our building was full of parents and students at parent-teacher conferences, PTA meetings, and different events. And my hope and my goal is to rebuild that bond and to rebuild that commitment so that we can continue to fill our school when we have events like this, when we have meetings, and also to share with you a lot of the important activities that take place. So we're hoping to rebuild that trust and community. And I know we all have a lot on our plates. We work multiple jobs, we're raising families. I know it's not easy. And I know that in sometimes this could be maybe a Zoom call in our minds, but school, a community school, and thank you, Councilmember Dinowitz, for joining us, is about being in person, is about building relationships, it's about supporting each other, it's about strengthening the community. And the only way to really do that is to be present. So again, thank you. So part of tonight's agenda, we want to take just some time to share information and data from our school. So we finished 2 marking periods right now. And so for high school students, that means they either gained credit or they didn't gain credit. For middle school students, they're still in the middle of their learning cycle because it's a full year of coursework. And then lastly, in terms of the agenda for tonight, we wanted to take time, hopefully, to inspire and charge our community so that we can continue to work together. The old proverb that it takes a village is true. You guys can't do it by yourselves, and we can't do it by ourselves. So we wanted to just highlight some of the information that is available to you. One of the things that really generated the need in our eyes for this meeting is I did a listening tour with our teachers. And I met with virtually every teacher in every department to see what's working, how are our students doing, how are they doing? And resoundingly, the biggest challenge that we're facing is building this partnership and continuing to strengthen this relationship between our families and the school. So I really wanted to kind of seize the moment, and again, I appreciate the staff taking the time out of their night to be here to show you guys that we are in community with you. It's not just us as a principal and the school leadership saying what we want and what we need. It's both ways. So that's where this has generated from. And hearing from some other folks in the room that have worked with a lot of schools and have been around a little bit, I echo their sentiment that this is an amazing turnout. So thank you for helping us fill our auditorium. I want to give you guys a round of applause as well. So what I'd like to do first is, at this moment, just kind of turn it over to Councilmember Dinowitz and give you the floor for some information. I'm going to share this, Mike. Just in respects to, like I said, know your rights, and then I'll share some information on the school side when it comes to protected rights that you and your families have when you're in this building.
Two microphones? What's this little?
Yeah, we're streaming.
Oh, we're streaming? We're live?
Not yet.
I'm nervous. I'm going to stay. Can I say it? Okay. Hey, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, I'm Councilmember Eric Dinowitz. It's really great to be here at this school. I love this school. I don't know if there are schools that do so well community outreach, and it's great to see so many families here. We do Spanish? A little Spanish?
We have translation.
You have translation? Okay. Well, quiero hablar un poquito español porque es importante, la comunidad sabe que lo necesito hacer porque we have, what's your name? Well, you're translating? Missy, Vija, Miss Vija is translating, so I don't need to. And thank God, because I don't know that much Spanish. It's good. So my job is to represent all of you. As the council member, I'm your city representative. But I always tell crowds like you, I'm a dad. I got twins, gemelos. Who said, oh? Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. I love them. Hey, kids, if you're watching at home, do your homework. But I was also a teacher. And so I spent almost 14 years in the classroom. I actually taught down the block over there at the Kennedy campus for most of my career. Oh my God, one of my students is here.
Oh my God.
That's wild. She was my best student. Do your homework. For chorus, singing, I also sang and taught kids to sing. But I think the important value that I had as a teacher was I taught students, a lot of them had disabilities. A lot of them came from whatever background, whatever country, like I didn't care. I just didn't care. The important thing to me was that you walk through the doors of my classroom and I was there for that student. And that's the value that I think is shared by everyone here at IN-Tech. Your child walks through the doors of this school and they're gonna get all the support they need and deserve. And that's also the value I carry with me to the city council. No matter who's in my district, no matter who walks through the doors of my office, they're my constituent, and I'm going to support them and protect them. Now, my office does a lot of work for kids in school, for parents of kids, who are struggling with their IEPs, people who have trouble with housing, a landlord who's not taking care of them. My office does a lot of work if the neighborhood's not clean enough. We're making sure the resources get to the neighborhood to keep it clean. And now, with new policies from this new administration, we're doing even more work to help our immigrant community. And I'll tell you, what's important to me is not whether you overstayed your visa or not. I don't care. I care whether your kid's going to school. We want our kids to go to school. I don't care whether you overstayed your visa. I care whether you're going to the doctor if you're sick. I care if you're the victim of a crime, that you're able to go to the police. So what we have in New York City are called sanctuary laws, which means that if you go to the police, NYPD can't share your data with ICE. If you come to school, the schools can't share your data with ICE. That's not preventing people from being scared. And what we're seeing over the city, and what I'm hearing, is that attendance is dropping in schools among our immigrant communities because they're scared of coming to school. People are scared of going to work. It's having detrimental effects on our families, on our schools, on our economy. And so my office, we're doing everything we can to make sure, first and foremost, as far as I'm concerned, I'm here to help all of you. Regardless of immigration status, you come to my office, we're here to help you. And we're leaning on New York City laws which say things like your landlord can't threaten things like deportation. Like it's illegal. And we are here to make sure you know your rights. My office is hosting Know Your Rights seminars on Zoom, totally anonymous. We're doing one next Friday, and we're going to share the information with the school. We're doing one next Friday. We're doing one next Thursday. And my office also funds legal services. So if we're not a law office, I want to be very clear, we don't directly provide the legal services, but if you're struggling, everything from immigration, even to housing, we fund housing attorneys. You could come to our office and we can help refer you to the right people. We've been on the streets handing out, we brought some flyers there in Spanish, but we brought some flyers so you just know you're right. So if you're approached by an ICE agent, maybe it's not you, maybe it's your friends and families. If you're approached that you know what you can say, what they are allowed to ask for, and what you are required to give them, we're out on the streets and in the libraries making sure people have this information. And I know I spent a lot of time talking about immigration. That happens to be really one of the main things we're hearing right now. So whether it affects you directly or not, it probably affects one of your friends, and it definitely affects one of your kids' classmates. That is, I can guarantee that. And so once again, we're here to support that. I don't want to take too much time, but I also don't want to leave without making sure all of you know that your children are very important to me, whether I know them or not, because as I said, that was my job for almost 14 years. As you know, Francesca. Francesca knows. And so a lot of the work I'm doing, like at this school in my first year, we got this school $1 million to redo their track and field in the back. And over the years, they've gotten hundreds of thousands of other dollars for technology upgrades. And we do that for all of our schools. We've made millions of dollars in investments for our students for physical upgrades and also for after-school programs. In fact, I was just at this building on Saturday where they hosted an arts festival. In my office, we allocate hundreds of thousands of dollars for the arts, because I wasn't just a teacher, I also did chorus after school. It's fun. It's great. Love the arts. And we have schools like IN-Tech that do that great work. We have schools all over that we're supporting. And I do want to share one bill that I passed, which also impacts teachers. This will be the last thing I say. As I mentioned, I was a special ed teacher. And if you're a kid with a disability, you probably have things like extended time on your exams. You may have separate location, you get accommodations, maybe it's a para, if it's a physical disability, ramps, whatever. And a lot of my students were going off to college, and then they would come back and visit me as a high school teacher and I'd say, how's college? They say, it's great, but it's really tough because I don't get extended time anymore. And I said, why not? Sometimes they would say, oh, they don't do that in college, which isn't true. Sometimes they would say, well, I couldn't figure it out, or they needed these documents, which I just don't have, so they came back to school to get the documents. It was a whole big mess of really bad reasons why our kids with disabilities were not getting accommodations in college. And I said, this shouldn't be the case. So I passed a law, and it's a very simple law, but it's the first time it's been done anywhere in the country, to my knowledge. And it says that if you're a kid with a disability and your last IEP, you can consent to having your IEP and assessment data electronically transmitted to the college or email address of your choice. And what that can do, oh, well, the kid likes it. Kid's clapping. Thank you. I think it's a good one too. Totally transformative. You'll get there one day to high school. I'm sure of it. But what it does is it says a college now has the ability to get that assessment data, and the college now can reach out to the student and say, hey, we have your assessment data. Let's do what we need to do to get you some extra time or get you a scribe or whatever else you need, so that our students with disabilities get the support they deserve and that they won't drop out at the rates they're dropping out. They'll complete their courses at a better rate. And the best thing about it is it's not really extra work for the teachers. And I made sure of this, teachers and guidance counselors, whoever else, it's really just a checkbox to consent, because I don't want you guys doing too much more work. You already do too much. And so that's really important for, yes, I was also a U of T chapter leader, so I was, yeah. So whether it's through legislation, whether it's through funding, or whether it's for things outside the classroom like immigration, I think it's important for all of you to know that you're elected representative here at IN-Tech who's representing the areas of Riverdale, Kingsbridge, Woodlawn, Wakefield, Norwood, Bedford Park, Van Cortlandt Village, the whole Northwest Bronx, that I am here to serve all of you, and I am continuing to do that day in and day out, and I will continue to do that for as long as I have the honor of serving you. And anything you need, we also brought palm cards, so you can have the information. We're going to leave them right there to contact my office. And of course, Principal Weisberg, we're always texting each other. He's always contacting me too. So I want to thank all of you just for simply being here, for being supportive of your kids. And for that, I'm going to turn it back to Principal Weisberg. Thank you all.
Thank you, council members. So he has been a great partner for our building and our community. Unfortunately, city projects take a while, so we're still in a holding pattern with the track, but one day that will be done. But more immediately, I just got off the phone and just thank you to your office for allocating $250,000 for technology. So we're going to be making sure that all our students have the right technology in their classes. So we'll be scheduling that soon. Just to reiterate the immigration piece for New York City. So the city is very clear for us as school officials and the school safety officials that run our front door. ICE is not allowed in this building, okay? They have to be left outside. If they have a legitimate subpoena or documentation, then I deal with our legal system, and then we work with them as appropriate. But for the most part, for all intents and purposes, they are not allowed in our building. And I will make sure of that with our team here, so I just wanted to reassure you. And I can't give them, as the council member said, any information about any child, even if it's, hey, does this kid go here? That's confidential. We can't give that out. I can't give that even to NYPD unless it's an emergency or they have a warrant or a subpoena, okay? So just wanted to share some data with you. Thank goodness, I believe our community feels safe to be here. This has been our attendance by grade level, as you can see. It's not up there. There we go. Is that better?
Yeah.
You want to do that for me? All right. We'll scroll down and you can see the rest of the data that we're going to put up. But for the most part, we broke it down by grade level. So again, we're running overall attendance is 93% in our building, which is a very high attendance rate for New York City school. So thank you for sending your kids every day. We can go forward. So here's some of the data. As I said, the marking period just ended. If you think about the 4 core subjects, how our students did in terms of passing that subject 6 through 12, this is how they performed in English, social studies, math, and science. So we have some work to do, and again, the call for the meeting to figure out how we can best support each other to make sure our students are taking advantage of all the support we have in place for, obviously in particular, math and science. In terms of all of our other subjects that we offer, this is how the students did in our language, our CTE classes, business, technology, arts, music, and gym. So our grade-wide pass rates, this is middle school. And what you're seeing is a percentage of, out of each grade, how many students passed versus how many students did not. So as you can see, most of our students are passing, but we still have some work to do with our students that are struggling. And then this is again what it looks like in high school. So our 9th and 10th grade, we're having a little bit of a transition challenge of students getting acclimated to their first semester of high school in 9th grade, and for some reason it's continuing in 10th grade. So as we continue with this, I'll share with you some of the resources that we have in place and that we want to put in place. The other thing that was striking to us that we need to point out, so we offer principal's honor roll, high honor roll, and honor roll. And these are averages of 80 or grade points of 80 and 85 and above. The blue are all the students that did not make it on that list. So the small sliver of pie is the students that I'm going to be celebrating a lunch next week with that made the honor roll. So again, the conversation, and Mr. Goranstein is going to help kind of leverage that a little later. How do we continue to push our students to be the best that they can be? Do we need everyone to have hundreds and hundred averages? No. That's not for everybody, and we get that. An 80 or 70 could be the best that that child is doing, we get that. But are they giving us that, right? And can you help make sure that they are doing their homework, that they're not leaving any work in their bag? Because I have a child at home, and when I ask to go on that bag, it's the black hole of what's at the bottom from September, October, right? So what routines do we have in place to support our children at home? So that was the middle school. This is the high school honor roll. So those students did a little better. So we are providing almost $68,000 in human people resources and about $18,000 to keep our building open and after school and Saturday programs. The challenge we're having is these classes have 1, 2, or 4 kids in them. So we're not taking advantage of what we offer. Because I guarantee you get the same answer that I get from my teenager. I don't need help. But your grades say something different, right? And it's okay to accept help because these guys are here. They're giving their time on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and even Saturdays. So I put the numbers up for you just to see that we're invested. We're putting our budget where we believe it should be spent and to support your children to take advantage of these opportunities. My ask is that you push them to take advantage of those opportunities. Help us fill those afternoon classes up. Help us make sure they take advantage of these opportunities and extra credit or support or Regents Prep or New York State exam prep that's being offered or lab makeup. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Poe just to highlight some of the college numbers.
Thank you, Mr. Weisberg. Buenas noches, good evening. My name is Ms. Poe, and I am the post-secondary counselor here in Tech. Welcome. I'm very excited to join this year the amazing work that we are doing here at the school, especially when it comes to post-secondary readiness. So I am happy to report that currently we have 108 seniors in our high school, and 93% of them have completed their CUNY application. The same number of students have applied for FAFSA and other financial aid applications. And 86% of that 108 of students have applied to either state colleges in SUNY, out-of-state colleges, and private colleges, both in the state of New York and outside the state of New York.
Oh, I think this is you.
Hello everyone, bienvenidos. Yo me llamo la señora Rosa, soy asistente directora del grado 8, al igual del inglés como segundo idioma, también idiomas de otros lenguajes. My name is Miss Rosa, I'm the AP for grade 8, but I do support in 6 through 12 for English, foreign language, English as a second language, and as well as the safety supervisor. I just wanted to bring up some few reminders, some good reminders, right? Because this is eighth grade end of year events. These are our middle school seniors that we want to support to make sure that most of our 8th grade, just so you know, remain at IN-Tech for high school. So we have the privilege to have them all the way from middle school to graduating a senior. We know your students well. We know what they need. We know their strengths, and we know where they struggle. We need you to support us so we can support them together. We need them in after school and in Saturday. Parents, you're going to receive soon a report whether your child is in promotion endowed. That tells you that as of January, the data is showing that if your child is failing one or more courses in grade 8, they will probably have to attend summer school. We tend to work more harder with them after January because we want to push them to graduate. So we have a lot of incentives. We have trips coming up, including one to bowling in March that they work for. We give them a section sheet, and we expect them to be in the Saturday program and after school in order to make those grades. Senior trip is going to be in June. We have the prom that's going to be again on June 12th. And of course, the graduation that we look forward to at Fordham Prep University. In order to get there, though, they have to pass all courses. So please make sure that they are joining us. We have wonderful teachers that are ready to and willing to help them, not only during after school and Saturdays, but also during their lunchtime. Teachers are willing to give up their lunch to support your child. So please have those talks with them, support us, let us support you, and let's have a great year.
Okay, so we just want to outline some of the upcoming events as well for our senior parents. And for some of you that are not in the 8th or 12th grade, it's important to understand what the road ahead looks like depending on what grade your child is in. So a lot of these are routine things that you can start to see what takes place. You want to speak to that?
Thank you, Mr. Weisberg. So February 6th, we are, which is tomorrow, we are hoping to see many of you back here because it's all about talking how are we going to get ready to ensure that your children are not only ready to move to the next grade, but to graduate from high school and achieve post-secondary goals. February 14, we are having a senior picture makeup day. Some of our seniors want to retake their senior picture for the yearbook, or they didn't get a chance to take it on the day that we scheduled it. So this is the opportunity, February 14. April 22nd, we are hosting a post-secondary fair. We have already secured commitment from over 50 colleges and other city institutions that will be in the building talking to our students and sharing with them resources about getting ready for college and applying for post-secondary opportunities. February 12th, which is next week, is going to be Career Day. That is a monumental task because we are having from grade 6 through 12, every student will be exposed to career readiness opportunities coming from professionals. We have already reserved and confirmed over 80 professionals from different careers and fields that will be here speaking to our students. April 10 to 11 is a highlight for our juniors because that's when we do an overnight trip and we take them to visit 3 colleges from one day to the other. So more information is coming and we're very excited about that. And last but not least, graduation, the day that everyone is looking forward to celebrate together. Our seniors graduate officially June 24. Is going to be at Lehman College from 6 to 8 p.m. More information will come. Thank you.
So one of the things the college office does is every month they've been creating this checklist for our seniors. So we really try to support the senior cohort every month with what they should be focusing on for their next steps. And this is their checklist for February. So as we were mentioning before, this slide shows you, these are all the after-school academic support programs that we started again this week after the new semester. So in all the different departments, after school, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, one of these departments is covered, and we also have some of these on Saturday. In terms of important dates that parents should know, so our marking period dates We also have middle school state exam testing coming up in April and May, and then when our parent-teacher conferences are in March and May, and also the AP exams and Regents exams that'll be taking place. So this is kind of the rest of the school year, really important dates and markers to keep in mind and conversations to have. This is just a small list of the 21 plus clubs that we have in this school. So again, there's always something taking place. Tonight we had our last boys basketball regular season home game. They won, and based on their record, they're going to be going into the playoffs. So we just again encourage that we support our students taking advantage. We have 2 plays coming up for high school. We have High School Musical. I believe they're still looking for cast members. And in middle school, Ms. Delgado is going to be doing Beauty and the Beast. Next week, they're having an information session. One of the things that the post-secondary office started this year with Riverdale Neighborhood House is that they've taken some juniors and seniors, and they're going to be working with our partners in the middle school at Riverdale Neighborhood House after school in the academic support. So from 2:45, 3 o'clock till about 4 every day, some of these students will be working to help the middle school students with their academics. So I just wanted you to have a clear picture. These are the conversations we've been having with the staff the last couple of weeks around what instruction should be like in our classroom. And so these are questions that we expect our students to be able to answer in any given class for any given lesson. So that's again part of the conversation. Are they tuned in? Are they paying attention? Are they really focused every period in their class? So these are questions, you know, what are you doing? They should be able to explain to us the specific instruction that they're engaging in. Why are they doing it? They need to understand this question, right? Why is important, right? We could ask you a bunch of things to do, but if you don't understand why, you're gonna have questions. And then understanding how they're doing it, and then, you know, if they know they're gonna be successful. We really want students to be a part of that process. Are they evaluating how they're doing? Do they have the tools to do that? And can they communicate with their peers to assess how each other is doing? So lastly, before I turn it over to Eric at My Robin, I'm just asking that we can commit to the following. That your child has a working relationship with you, and one of the questions that I love asking my son when he says there's no work, show me your Google Classroom. Bring it to me right now, because that's usually the response I get, that chuckle, that walk away, and an hour later he resurfaces because he had work to do. But if we don't put them on task, they're kids. Nope, got nothing. And they're gonna be online or on their phones. Don't let them get away with it. Ensure that your child, please, stays with us at least one of the days after school, Wednesday through Friday, and including Saturdays. We're here 9 to 11:30. Meals are provided. And then the last 2 things, email your child's teachers. Ask them information if you're not getting it. Ask them what tests, what quizzes, how are they doing? They'll get back to you, okay? It's not gonna be right away. I know we live in this instantaneous like and love culture, but you know, if you give them 24 to 48 hours, I promise you they will get back to you, okay? But ask them if you're not getting the information from your child. And then if you haven't been to a PTA meeting, please come to 1 or 2 for the rest of the year. We're having a paint and sip on the 25th. Just spoke to the vendor who's gonna be coming, and they're gonna be doing an activity on that day. And then we have different themes every month, and you can ask Ms. Velasquez if you have any questions about that. So I just want to thank you for showing up. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Goranstein, who's going to share a few things with you around building this relationship. You want this one?
Thank you very much, Mr. Weisberg. Can I get those slides pulled up? And I know there's been a lot of clapping going on, but I must say I travel all across New York City visiting schools, parent events. Very impressive turnout. So, you know, naturally it's all Mr. Weisberg. Oh no, it's not. It's all of you. So like he said before, give yourselves a round of applause. I'm really impressed. that you're all here, showing up. Take the clicker. I'll start off by saying, so parenting for success, but there's much more to that. I'd also like to say, I'm a parenting expert. Anybody who says that to you, run away from them, right? Nobody's an expert on this. Kids, earmuffs. Your parents don't have all the answers. They're figuring it out as we go along. But I do have a very rambunctious 5-year-old at home, and I've taught her one thing. She asked me about my job, and I convinced her my job is to keep her safe. So I asked her, I said, Simone, what's my job? And she goes, to keep me safe. So that's where it starts. I also want to give a little background. First, I want to say, muchísimas gracias, la señora Villa, para traduciendo, porque mientras yo tengo la capacidad, pero me falta la paciencia y la rapidez para traducir para esta noche, eso va a pasar casi 4 horas. If I have to translate, we're going to be here all night. So I want you to know I'm born and raised in the Bronx, specifically in this neighborhood, a little bit on Johnson Avenue and a little bit on 231st and Godwin. I went to Kennedy High School right behind you over there. I remember when this building was being built. Is Kennedy, where are my Kennedy people at? I know there's somebody, always. All right. There you It feels that way sometimes. We are. And I remember when this building did not exist, when we had to walk. Anybody remember walking the strip, right? And all kinds of stuff, good, bad, and everything in between happened on the strip, right? Let's get through a few things here. Let me see if this clicker works. You guys don't have to sign in. Don't worry about that. So a lot of this and a lot of the work we do at Robin, everything is through the lens of connection. So I think if there's one thing I could impart upon everybody tonight is that connection is everything. Kids who feel connected to their families, kids who feel connected to their peers, kids who feel connected to their school, their community, kids who feel connected to themselves will be successful in life. All statistics show that kids who feel a sense of connection show up. So that's attendance. And then grades improve, test scores improve, graduation rates improve. And by the way, negative behaviors decrease, okay? Kids who feel connected to each other don't bully each other, all right? But a couple of skills we can hopefully walk out of here today just to think about are going to be communication and listening skills, practices to create positive changes, and then a little acronym called the STEP model to support intentional changes, right? This is all a way to help create that partnership so that school, right, staff, parents, and students create that community of success for kids. Why is it important? Listen, I know you all are busy, right? Anybody here get a full night's sleep every night? Raise your hand if you do. Oh, wait. Oh, well, you don't. You count very much, but not for this. Grown-ups, full night of sleep, right? We know you're busy, right? We got to manage the stress. There's a lot coming at us. This is always my favorite. Anybody, I know we might have some grandparents here. Raise your hand if you're a grandparent. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you. I'm going to go see my mom after this and take her out to dinner. My mom, when we're out with my daughter, she loves to give me things. Oh, well, when you were a kid, we didn't do that. Well, things have changed, right? Anybody here ever tell you this one? Well, when I was a kid, we didn't have car seats, right? And I turned out okay. Well, yes, you did, but how many thousands of kids had to suffer in accidents or worse because we weren't using car seats? So the message with that is, once we know better, we have to do better. So things have evolved, right? We're like, wow, I wouldn't do that now, right? So things have changed, right? The focus has changed. And then also, get out of this mindset of the comparison culture, right? What works in one household won't necessarily work in your household. My daughter, and I've caught myself, I fix this, and I'm gonna interject with my own stories because I think it's the best way, because I think that's how we all connect with. She admires one girl's a little older, like a grade above her, and one night we're like, well, you know, Lucia be asleep by now, right? And we're like, oh no, we can't do that. That's not really fair, right? We don't know what goes on in other people's households. So we stopped doing that sort of comparison. And then there's an expression, has anybody ever heard this before? Comparison is the thief of joy. Anybody heard that before? You will madden yourself, truly, if you just keep comparing yourself. When my daughter, oh, that kid's reading really well. How come my daughter's not reading as well? Everybody's different, okay? So don't get caught up in that. So for a moment, and I want you all to know I usually do this in much smaller groups, more workshop style, so I'm kind of plowing through this a little bit. But let's just take a few moments to dwell on these two questions. Close your eyes for a second, think about it, these two things. Who are you in your best moments as a parent? Just think. And then who are your children in their best moments? Think about that. And I'm sure things are jumping to mind. You don't have to share, but I may pick on one person if they'd like to share. So any of the grown-ups here, who are you in terms of parenting in your best moments? Anybody want to throw anything out there? Yes, no? Please. That's your vacation, yes? You're a cool mom, right? For me, I think about like, wow, I'm a provider, right? That's something that comes from me. All right, and then think about think of the grown-up version of who are your kids in their best moments, right? And for me, I think of my daughter smiling at me, right? The way sometimes she touches my hand, right? Hey, Daddy, let's cross the street, and she grabs my hand. I'm like, yes, right? Anybody else?
When they tell you the best news of the day.
When they share their news of the day, you don't even ask. They mommy. Feels good, right? Let's keep that kind of feeling going. So with that in mind, what kind of goals can we set for our families? Can we set an academic goal? And that academic goal doesn't necessarily have to be getting into Harvard, right? It could be, in my household, can we get to school on time every day this week, right? It's okay, we all have different levels, right? And then school involvement goal. Well, congratulations, you are here, right? This is a great school involvement goal. You've showed up. Mr. Weisberg asked, can we at least show up for 2 parent association meetings a year? That's a great example. And then definitely one that resonates with me, can we have more order and more structure in the home? Does anybody here, and I know it's middle school and high school, and mine is still elementary, anybody here struggle with bedtime? For the adults or the kids? Both. But knowing that setting structure, one of the most important things that kids need is structure, is regimentation. And I'm saying this out loud because I'm reminding myself I need to do that too, okay? Sometimes we're a little lax. You know, sometimes, we'll let our daughters sleep in on the weekend, right? Oi, you okay? Children are very resilient as well. But sometimes sleeping in doesn't really work for kids, right? There's that consistency of we have to be up, 6:30 in the morning every day, right? If we slack off on the weekends, kids can't always understand, right? They don't know, today is Saturday versus, Friday or Tuesday, that consistency. And then while we're thinking about this, what's another goal, a personal goal? Just think for something that you could set for your family to help create this culture of success for your children. Let's get them on to higher education. Let's get them onto a career path. Maybe it's not higher ed. Maybe your kid's going to be a fantastic carpenter. Maybe there's so many options out there. Just think. And we want to hear your success stories. Now, normally this would be smaller groups, so I'm going to, again, there's a lot of us in here, so we'll be here for 4 hours if we share every success story, right? But think about what we hear today and how we can approach things differently. So listening with intention, right? Why do we do this? We want to build trust with our children, right? We want to allow children to struggle. It's called productive struggle, right? How many of us have that instinct to fix things for our kids all the time by a show of hands? Do we think we're doing our children a favor by fixing things for them all the time? Staring at my daughter in the morning because she wants to put on her shoes and her pants and everything herself. I'm like, oh, I want to fix it, but I have to let her do it, right? It's frustrating. It's difficult as a parent, right? But please let them struggle. It's productive struggle, right? And then the listening, right? Without correcting, without lecturing. Again, talking to myself too, right? When they're making up these stories, when they're giving you excuses, it's okay to listen, right? It's okay to listen. Let them speak. And when we listen with intention, reflecting back, right? It's okay to not respond. My wife tells me all the time when I'm communicating with her, I want to fix things. She tells me something, I'm like, all right, what about this? What about this? She's like, just listen to me. You don't have to fix it. Sometimes your children just want you to listen. You don't have to give them a response back. They just want to be heard. They're little people, right? They're just little people. In some instances, they're pretty big little people too, right? And this is really helping kids find the feelings, the names of the feelings behind their words. So I'll give you an example. I use my own. The first time my daughter said to me, I hate you, Daddy, when she was angry. First time I heard that, maybe about a year ago, I was floored. You hate me? And then I wanted to correct her and yell at her. And then I realized, wait a minute, I'm 40-something, she's 5. So then we realized, wait a minute, can I help you find a better word for your feeling? Or remind her that using the word hate is not a kind word. We use kind words in this house. Maybe you don't like me right now because I told you no, because I said no to ice cream or candy late at night, right? Help them find that word, help them communicate, right? And in that moment, I'll also tell you, I like making fun of my sister-in-law. It's all right, you don't know her, it's fine. So my sister-in-law babysits, she's wonderful, she really helps us out a lot. She got the first, I hate you, Aunt Lizzie, right? Aunt Lizzie does not have children. She lives by herself, she's having things her way. Aunt Lizzie screamed back, you can't talk to me that way, stormed out of the room, slammed the door on my 5-year-old. I said, Aunt Lizzie, do you know you just threw a tantrum in response to my daughter's tantrum? And she's like, well, I was upset. And I'm like, I know you were, but you're 40, she's 5. So this is something we teach with kids a lot of the time in the lessons we offer. It's okay to have those feelings, to get upset, to get angry, right? We're entitled to those feelings. We can't control our feelings. But what we can do is control our reaction to those feelings, right? And that's something, a method we're going to work on in a sense. You know, let's help identify what they want. There's a lot of frustration, right? So providing encouragement with your students, with your children, using very descriptive language with children. Anybody ever heard of a concept using joy language, right? When your kids come home, you ask them, how was school today? What do you hear? Like, where's a young person here? Excuse me, may I use you an example? Thank you for allowing that. How was school today? Good. Okay. Is that very descriptive or not really? There's other things we could say, like, I had a wonderful day, or it was joyous, right? It was transformative. You don't really have to say transformative. I'm just using big words. But there's language out there, right, that helps us to get to think about things. So, try to use vocabulary around your children as much as possible, right? And then this is very important for growth in terms of an environment, right? How can we help set up spaces in the house or maybe find the local library? Because listen, I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment with, with 3 other people. There wasn't a lot of space, quiet space to study. So my mom got creative and made sure she got us to the library for study time. So things like that. How can we help configure those physical spaces so that our families and our children can achieve? Creating those positive changes, like we mentioned, routines, setting up rules, following through, using appropriate consequences, solving problems together, right? Making sure mom and dad are on the same page, because a lot of times I mess that one up, right? My daughter comes home, turns on the TV, and my wife's like, why are you letting her watch TV? She's in trouble, no TV. I'm like, I didn't know, right? So being on the same page in terms of parenting. And then this method, okay, the STEP method. Slow down, tune in, explore options, proceed. This is a good mnemonic, a good acronym, right? Basically, when we're dealing with a difficult situation, or we're not sure what's going on, our children are trying to express something, right? Let's slow things down, right? Let's de-escalate. What's going on here, right? Shouting over somebody else shouting is not going to accomplish anything, right? The voices will just continue to raise. Let's see if we can then figure out maybe what's going on. Can we tune in to see, oh, wait a minute, there's something going on here. Let our child express themselves, right? And then exploring options. I mentioned it before. So my daughter who said, Daddy, I hate you because I said no to something. Is hate the right word you want to use? Is there something else you want to say? Can I help you, right? And then the proceed, right? We're exploring the options, we're proceeding. How can I help you with this, right? And by the way, everybody's going to get emailed or get access to this as well. I appreciate the photos. Thank you. Good. It's good. Now I know. I'm like, oh, use that more. Thank you. So, right, we all can practice some new skills in the moment, but don't wait. It's like sports. Don't wait, right? We practice during the week, right? Football fans, basketball fans, soccer, right? Team practices all week, so when those difficult situations arise, they're ready to rise to the occasion. So practice these things at home in less volatile situations, right? Sometimes there's a simple thing. Anybody struggle, right, with food for the night? Hey, what do you want to eat? All right, I don't know. What do you want to eat, right? But that's a nice calm situation of, hey, let's practice some of these things, right? So that way, when there is something really heavy going on, we get used to these methods. And again, just want to get people thinking. Think in your head, what's be your takeaway from this today, right? Maybe you write it down, a note in your phone. You have a pen with you now. Just think about something you take away with you today. You don't have to even worry about filling out that survey because I know everybody wants to get home. I don't want to keep you. I appreciate you very much. I just want to say thank you again to the whole in-tech community. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for listening to me. I hope I offered a little bit of something that you could take home with you, but also just reemphasize, we're not going through it alone. I know you feel like you're going through it alone, but I guarantee you, the parent that's next to you, if you explain a feeling, they can almost assuredly express a very similar feeling they went through. So you're not alone, right? Be connected, be part of the community. It really helps, all right? Thank you all. I really, really appreciate the opportunity.
So thank you, Eric. Just to highlight, we're going to be doing some more work with MyRobin and Eric's company in the future, setting up a few more smaller workshops around some of these classes. So we'll communicate that with you. The other thing I just wanted to highlight, one of the things that Eric talked about was food. And I know sometimes it's a struggle to put food on our tables. We have been fortunate enough over the last 3 years to receive over $36,000 from Stop and Shop. for our food pantry. So Ms. Velasquez stocks our food pantry. It's for free. It's for anybody. We're open on Thursdays from 10 to 2. If you can't make those times, you can call her or email her, and she'll schedule something for you so that we can make sure that you and your families have some food on the table. Today, we did receive, thank you to the work of Ms. Ruiz and Mr. Lopez. We have a company that brings us fresh produce every month from Hunts Point, and we give that out to the students once a month. And we had some bags that we had given out to some families that got here earlier this evening. So again, we're trying to continue to make sure that you have some of the support and supplies that you guys need to make sure that you're healthy, your kids are healthy, and that we're showing up every day. So just, I really want to thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule, staying here late through dinner time. Appreciate you all very much, and I hope you guys get home safe. Thank you. Thank you.